If you've tried to use Studio to create complex curves or even simple bends, you'll soon realize that the limitations of the flexible tool in Studio don't allow for things like that, but we can do them very easily in LDCAD. In this video, I'm going to take you through a step-by-step process on exactly how to do that. I've done videos before where I've talked about LDCAD, and I've also shown how to use flexible parts in Studio. In this video, I want to take the time to show you in LDCAD how to get flexible parts to work and to be able to export them into Studio and use them properly without any glitches. If you don't know what LDCAD is, it is another type of Lego CAD program. And Studio has used a lot of the resources of LDCAD to create that program. For instance, we use the LDRAW library. If you want more information on using LCAD, as I explained, I did a video on it before. So you can follow the link to the card that I just posted. In the future, I will be diving a little deeper into LDCAD because I think it's important for digital designers to be able to go back and forth between the two programs, because LDCAD has some things to offer that Studio doesn't, and vice versa. Just to let you know, for those that don't know, I am a freelance Lego commission designer, which means I can take your design and turn it into reality in brick form. I've done all sorts of designs from business to personal and large to small, so if you have a project in mind that you would like to commission me for, my contact information is in the description below. As well, I produce instructions for other Lego designers, so if you have a mock that you wish to have instructions produced for, you can get in touch as well. Also, don't forget about the Studio Lego Designers Facebook community. We have over 1,500 members now, and it keeps growing every day. There are lots of great conversations going on and people asking and getting answers to their questions, and others displaying their works they've created in Studio, as well as lots of people sharing files and being able to help one another out. So it is a fantastic resource for anybody that uses Studio. Okay, let's get into creating this curve. First, you're going to need your object that you want to curve. So we are going to take a look through, and here is a 3mm hose that we can bring over, and you want to keep it on the default option here to create the MPD subfile. In order to get this to bend, we're going to need to use the nested option. So on the top right hand corner, we see that we have a few tabs here, and we are going to go to nested. As soon as we go to nested, we get all of these arrows, and you can see on this one we have a few little balls here that I will explain later. When navigating around LDCAD, you might find it a bit difficult, but it's best to use this window down here, and we can just scroll back and forth or up and down using that, or we can tilt the object however we need. One of the options down here is going to be invaluable when you are working with flexible parts, and that is down here in this corner where it says 3D. If you click on that, it changes the orientation to 2 dimensions, so you can see exactly just the orientation that you want. When you click on one of these arrows and start dragging that end around, it's going to move that end wherever you have placed the cursor. So it's real easy to get a simple bend going on. Next, what you might want to do is change the orientation of the ends. Instead of it being flat, you might want it tilted a bit. First off, I would recommend going over to this box again, and up in the top right hand corner where it has degrees listed, make sure to set that to 1 degree. This is going to allow you to make finer adjustments to your curve. Now we're going to go over and use this circle to angle the end of our hose. So you can grab it anywhere and begin turning it. And now our hose is angled in the direction that we chose. You can do the same thing up here. If you click on the crosshairs, you're going to get this circle appear, and then again you can set the angle that you want the hose to be at. Next, if we click on this ball and we pull it out, this acts as a Bezier curve, which means it will pull the curve along this radius. This is all fine and good if you want a simple recurve, but what if you want a more complex curve, like something with 2 or 3 S's in it, or something that loops back on itself? This is where we're going to have to start inserting some more points, like you see in this curve over here, where I have a bunch of points all the way along that hose. What you're going to do is select the crosshairs first and then press insert, and that's going to create a new endpoint. So we get another grid with a crosshair, and then we can click out and it has created a new endpoint for us, and our old endpoint is now in the middle of the curve. So again, if we want to change the angle or anything of that curve, we can first play with the ball to bring it out further if we want, or narrow it. And if we select on the crosshairs, then we can change the angle of attack for that. One thing to be wary of when you are inserting new points is to make sure that you have selected the crosshairs and not the object, because that will do something different if you press insert and then click somewhere in the object. It's going to delete that section. So it is possible that you might want to do this at some point, but if you're building your curve, you definitely don't want to do that. If this does happen, just press Ctrl Z and it will bring your curve back, and then you can go and click on the crosshairs and then click it. You can insert as many points as you want. I've seen some examples of really complicated coils that people have done. This is only limited by what you actually need to do. Keep in mind that you want to keep your curve as simple as possible, so don't go crazy with the number of points, because one will affect another. So if you have too many points, you're going to take a lot longer doing your editing. Let's say that you want this curve to feed through a brick, like a pinhole in a Technic brick. I will show you how to do that now. It's relatively simple to feed a hose through. As I showed you, if you grab the end of the hose and just drag it where you want, it's going to move there. And if we want to see where that hole is, you can go to your 2-dimensional settings, and there we go. Now we're fortunate to have this all lined up, but if you need to move that hose anywhere else, you can use the arrows to go up and down, or if you drag the whole box up, you can set the end where you want. So now we are perfectly aligned to the middle of the pinhole. Or you can use this box to change the angle if you want, and we'll rotate that left again. We can again use this box to adjust our angle. So now we can just drag this through that hole, and then we are going to insert a new point, and we'll do that there. Can drag this up and flip it to the front, and now we have the hose going through the pinhole. So that was how you create the curve, but how do you get it into Studio? So what you're going to do first is go to Normal. We'll just delete this block. We're going to click on the part, and I've found that you should group it first of all. So you're going to right click, group, and group selection. Alternatively, you can just press Control G. We're just going to delete this one for now because we're not going to want that in our file. And next you are going to go File, Save As, and you can save the file under any name that you wish. Next, we will go into Part Designer. If you don't know how Part Designer works or how to get to it, I have done another video tutorial talking all about the parts designers, so you can follow the link to the card I just posted. I've shown how to import parts into Studio from LDCAD before, but very quickly I will go over it again. So you're going to click Import, then you're going to go to 3D Object, choose a file, find your file and bring it in and insert it. So now we have our curve in Parts Designer. We can export that to Studio. Now back in Studio, if you go to Custom Parts, you should see your curve there. We have our demo curve, and now we can bring that up and put it in and use it as we need it. Sometimes when you bring the curve in, you're going to see lots of gaps and things like that that shouldn't be in that part. That is because you didn't group the part before you save the file. So make sure to group that part so that you don't get those gaps. And finally, we can render it out. And this is the result of our render, a great looking curve. You can tell it really doesn't take a long time to create these curves in LDCAD, which is why it's often suggested to go there and do your curves, because it will make things so much easier for you. So I really hope this has helped you out to add more curves into your designs. I know for a long time I avoided using any type of flexible stuff in my designs simply because it was so hard to manipulate them in Studio. Once I learned how to do this in LCAD, it was a real game changer for me, so I hope this will have helped you out as well. In the next video, I am going to go back to looking at animating in Blender. I've learned how to import the complete model directly from Studio into Blender and how to manipulate the object in Blender to create animation. So I hope you join me for that. If there is any subject matter that you want discussed as far as Studio is concerned, then please let me know. I'm always open to ideas. If this video has helped you out, please take the time to hit the like button, subscribe, and share it around to others who can benefit from it. Thanks so much for watching. Have a fantastic day. Keep dreaming of bricks. Bye-bye.